Our first question for you today is many college students may not be familiar with the role of family court. Can you tell us more about what the responsibilities of the family court judge are and why this role is important to our community?
Sure, and thank you for the opportunity to be with you this afternoon. Yeah, family court is one of the more critical courts in our system here in New York State. It's the court where most of the issues pertaining to custody, visitation, child support, paternity, neglect, abuse, and adoptions take place. So there's a wide variety of issues that come before the court on a fairly regular basis. And so that's why it's so important. When a family court judge makes a decision, it's going to impact the daily lives of the people that come before the judge. So a decision that's made in connection with custody or visitation is absolutely critical to not only the parents involved or the parties involved, but obviously to the children. And the primary concern of a family court judge on those types of cases is what is in the best interest of the child. That's what governs. And so our system, at least in New York, is set up so that there's an attorney for the child or the children in almost every custody or visitation case, so that the children are adequately, represented in that type of a proceeding. But it's a very busy court. There's a lot of folks that appear in family court that do not have counsel, that either they can't afford a private attorney or they're not eligible for assigned counsel. So there's a lot of what we call pro se people that come in and represent themselves. And a family court judge is in a little bit different capacity than other judges in our system. They may have to deal with people that are trying to represent themselves, which also creates some issues because the judge, of course, has to adjudicate the case applying the law to the facts of the case. And that sometimes can be an issue if people are just representing themselves. So it's really one of the most critical courts in the system. That's why I got involved in family law when I started to practice about 36 and a half years ago. I enjoyed family law practice because you were dealing with real problems with real people, and you were trying to solve those problems for those folks. So that was the reason why I ended up getting involved in family law, and that's why I continue to do it today.
Thank you very much. You already touched on this a little bit with your last response, but what motivated you to really run for this position?
Well, I'm currently a family court magistrate. I was appointed to that position about 7.5 years ago by the Office of Court Administration, and I adjudicate support and paternity cases right now. So I'm on the bench in family court functioning as a magistrate. Prior to that time, for about 29 years, I represented folks in family court. I represented parents, grandparents. I have represented children in the various proceedings that I mentioned: custody, visitation, support, some neglect and abuse. I've represented children. I've also represented folks in adoptions as well. So I've got a wide variety of experience in family law practicing here in Broome County. And there are 2 open positions this year in Broome County for the family court judgeship. A position that opened up as the result of Judge Connerton's retirement, and also another position that opened up because one of the judges was removed from the bench. So quite frankly, a number of people approached me during the course of the fall, encouraging me to run because of the vast experience that I had. And I did decide to jump into the race, and hopefully will prevail and be one of our 2 next Broome County Family Court judges.
Perfect. Thank you very much. How has your background and experience prepared you to be successful in this position?
Well, I think that, again, representing litigants, knowing what it's like to practice law on the other side of the bench was absolutely critical. And I took that experience when I became a family court magistrate when I'm deciding cases now. And that experience was invaluable in terms of handling cases. And then my experience as a magistrate now, I think, is also invaluable from a judge perspective. I mean, I function as a judge. I handle cases. Family court has a number of cases that are put before a judge every day. I think that I disposed of something close to 1,800 cases last year, and we're probably on track. And most of the judges are on track to do that again this year. So it's a very busy court, and it's critical to know from the judge's perspective how to handle your caseload, what you need to do, what cases may settle, what cases require a hearing, handling your calendar, knowing the lawyers involved, all that goes into play. And as a support magistrate for the last 7.5 years, I've been able to basically function as a judge. So if I am fortunate enough to be elected to the family court judge position beginning in January, I'll be able to hit the ground running. I don't need any on-the-job training because I know what it's like to basically adjudicate cases in that court.
Thank you very much. Is there anything else you would like to share to help students decide who deserves their vote?
Yes, there are 4 people that are running for 2 positions in this race. I was involved in a 5-way primary for both in the Democratic line and then on the Working Families line in June. And I was fortunate enough to get the Democratic Party one of the 2 nods. And also I'm on the Working Family line as well, winning that endorsement actually. And then there was a primary. So I think it's important for all voters to recognize the real experience that the candidates bring. No other candidate has the extent of my experience. I have more experience practicing family law in Broome County than all of the other candidates combined. I'm the only candidate who currently works on the bench in Broome County Family Court. So I do believe that I am the most experienced candidate. I have a varied background. I've been an adjunct professor at Binghamton University. I had to stop last year, but I've been doing it for 12 or 13 years. I teach a business course in School of Management. I taught a negotiations course for MBA students in the executive training program. I've been an adjunct professor at BU for quite some time. So I've got a good broad range of experience. And of course, I will take that and apply all of that as a family court judge.
Thank you very much, Mr. Monachino. To the rest of the Binghamton University students that are watching this video, please make sure to watch the other videos and the other interviews so you can get a well-rounded knowledge about all of the candidates. This is a reminder that Election Day is November 2nd. And if you have any questions about who is on the ballot or the voting process, please go to the Center for Civic Engagement for answers.